Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we continue the Q&A, so this is going to be the part 2 where I try to answer as many questions as possible from last week. So first question, MTL921 asked me, how did you start this channel? I explained that in the previous video, so just check that out. Now Razvan 1, how to live with a turtle misaligned chapter ring? I don't know. If you find out, let me know. Paris Pat, how do you replace the watch strap on a G-Shock? The same way you replace it on any watch, using a spring bar tool. The only thing that can be tricky is putting it back together, as you have to wiggle it in until it clicks. Larvancio Ramos, will I win the watch? No, apparently you didn't. Jenil Mervik, what is the most cool, GA1000 or GA1100? DW5000. Mengkong Chun, how many years do you need to replace solar panel or battery in G-Shock? I'm guessing you're asking if you should replace a solar battery and after a solar panel on a G-Shock and after how many years. Theoretically, you shouldn't replace it ever. It should last the lifetime of the watch. Also, a regular battery is rated to 2 to 3 years. They can last up to 5 to 7, even more. And a solar one, you shouldn't be forced to replace it for the lifetime of the watch. I know people have had solar watches with batteries in them for about 27 years, so that's a lot. And yes, they're G-Shocks. Matija Pejazic, best square case G-Shock in terms of value. In my opinion, the GWM5610. DW5600E is very good in value, but for only $10 to $20 more, you get the self-charging, self-adjusting, and all the functions like the world time and 5 alarms. So the GWM5610 is definitely the best deal out there. Peter Williams, I noticed the scar on the underside of your wrist. Any story behind this? Shark attack, perhaps? I mean this scar. Unfortunately, no. What happened is I broke my arm by falling down. I was pushed by someone, but it happened on a holiday when everyone was a bit under the influence, including the doctors that treated me at the ER. So they kind of messed up the job and I had to have a surgery after that to repair the damage. That's why I have the scar. Okay, Ivan Hasjim, why do you want to be a horologist? I don't know, I just like watches and the tiny gears and everything, and I believe the watches are the last and the only acceptable jewelry for men in today's world, so that's why I like them. Scar Ajax, why does my G7900 making a high-pitching buzz whenever I press the light button? I don't know, maybe the little speaker inside is loose, so when you press this it starts to vibrate. I really couldn't know. Unless you open it out. Elias TS, best automatic swatches under 200 euros. You probably meant watches. In that case, Orient, Seiko, and Citizen. And probably Orient offers the best bang for buck because for under 200 you will get a sapphire crystal, a signed crown, the hacking mechanism, everything. On some models, not all. Simple 123. Do you dream about watches? Yes. How do you plan your videos? I don't plan them necessarily. If I know something interesting about a watch, I will say it. Also, I will handle a watch and see what I like, what I dislike, and just make a video accordingly. Have you ever dismantled the mechanical movement? Yes, many times very successfully. Putting it back together, however, wasn't such a success. Matt H22. Will the new metal G-Shock be a regular release or will Casio end production of them? Well, the silver one is a regular production, while the gold one was a limited. However, with Casio, you never know. They might cancel this one as well. Billy Bob 21. How many watches do you own? Well, because on my YouTube channel, I need to flip watches more often than regular people, so you really can't put a number, that, because I will have a certain number this week and next week it's going to change. But about 15 is what stays in the collection. I mean, rotating. Someone go, someone come in. But it's around 15. Rizwan Ali, a dream 5-watch collection. Well, in 5 watches I really can't put up a collection. But if I included some of the models that I already own, like the Starmansky, the King Seiko, the DW5000, and a couple more, and then added 5 dream watches, that could be attainable. I would probably include JLC dual matter travel time that I mentioned in In the previous video, it would be then an AP Royal Oak, but the thin one, the regular one, not the offshore that's ugly. Then Rolex Yachtmaster or Submariner. So far, I've been in love with Submariner no date. However, after handling a Yachtmaster, despite not liking the all-metal bezel, the lugs are just so much better executed than on a Submariner. They're nicer in a way. And also the watch has that side bulge, so it has a curvature. It's not just slab-sided like a Submariner. So I'm starting to like Yachtmaster much better than I used to. So it will probably be one of those two. And Masahiro Kikuno's temporal hour clock or watch that combines both the Japanese traditional time measurement and Western worlds. So you see in Japan, the hours change during the year. The duration of the hour changes during the summer and winter, because it's always, I believe, 6 hours day, 6 hours night. And since in the summer the day lasts longer, the actual hours get spread out. So in the summer, an hour is more in time than in winter. And he managed to make a small watch where you have the regular hands that show you the, not European, but world time, regular world time, and you have on the side Japanese traditional way of showing time that actually spreads across as the year goes by. And when the winter comes, these ones spread, these ones come together and these ones spread. It's an amazing watch. I'll leave a link in the description. And the guy makes everything himself. It's really an amazing person, amazing watchmaker, and truly an amazing watch. If I could own one day, I really would be happy to. Okay, moving on. Kevin Hayden, Traverse Alpha by Suunto. Thoughts? Well, I still haven't gotten into smartwatches enough to know the good sides, the bad sides. I know that if it's not self-charging, I pretty much don't like it. But I heard it's a great watch, but I really don't know enough to comment on that. Moving on. Nicoli Gogle, do you have a spouse? Okay, we'll combine this question with a couple more. Do you have a spouse, and how does she take your watch enthusiasm and your dedication about the matter? This can be combined with Tom M. Do you earn enough with this channel to buy a new watch each month? And also with Albert Cervera. When did you start with this passion? I explained that. And some of your friends or family think you spend too much money on it. Okay, so it's about, do I have a spouse? Yes, I do. I have a wife, and she kind of tolerates that. But I'm trying to make her like what I do by spending this money that you asked me about. Do you earn enough with this channel to buy a new watch each month? I don't buy watches with this money. I save this money on the side, and then once a year, we can do a weekend trip, me and my wife, which allows me to have freedom to do this because she gets a reward at the end of the year. However, when it comes to buying new watches, I have a system where I flip watches, and I've been doing it for years, with at least breaking even and usually just making a small amount of profit. So I try never to lose money on a watch. And since I do flip them a lot, and I always look for a good deal or for a vintage or used watch, I have accumulated enough that I can buy watches and resell them, and that pile keeps getting bigger. So, like you said, does my family think I spend too much money on it? I don't actually spend any of my money, of my income, or my family's income. I have this watch fund, and it keeps growing, and the watches keep growing. So they really don't mind it because I have set it up like that. Okay, moving on. GWG 1000. When I get one. Currently, they're still too expensive for me to buy one, and nobody that I know owns one to send it to me. If you know someone, please send it. I'll do a review gladly. Polynesia Echelon. What sparked your love for watches? I kind of explained that in that previous video. How many watches do you own? I just explained, and have owned throughout your years. A lot, more than 50. Top 5 favorite watches you own. Top 5. My King Seiko, my Sturmansky, DW5000. I love the Amphibia, and I have to admit that this new Omega that I just purchased the other week is really, really growing on me. What do you do for a living? I work for a small, well, medium to small family-owned company that sells construction materials. What made you start doing these watch review videos? Answered already. Top 3 to 5 YouTube channels. I covered that in my videos, video where I explain all the channels that I highly recommend and those that really deserve a lot more attention. So you have the answers. But Horology House and Watchfinders and Co. are definitely the ones that you really have to check out and follow. The macro shots on these channels alone are worth the time. Has any watchmaker ever reached out to you? Yes, many. However, whenever a watchmaker or brand, usually micro brands, approach me and tell me they want to send me a watch for a review, I always respond with the same email. That I say that I agree to them sending me a watch, but I get to say whatever I want to say about a watch. And this is where problems arise. None of the brands are going to say, oh, in that case, we're not going to send you the watch. But soon there are problems like, oh, we don't have enough samples, we can't send to your location, and blah, blah, blah. They all jump, or they all bail out. The only ones so far, well, not the only ones since I have some other watches coming in, but the first ones that actually surprised me was Spinnaker. And as you've noticed, I have done a lot of Spinnaker reviews since then, and they have gotten respect from me because when I told them the same, they said, sure, we'll send you the watch, and I really wasn't expecting them to send it. However, after a week, there was a watch at my doorstep, and I was really surprised. So they earned my respect because they don't care what you say about their watch. They're going to send it to you. And because of this, they kind of got a lot of hate because there's a lot of YouTube videos of Spinnaker. But I'm starting to think, knowing from other brands that turned me down, never officially, that maybe there's a lot of videos of their watches because they really do send out watches with no request, no special request. They only request you to tell them when the sale is going to start and when the pre-orders are going to start, and that's the only request they have. So yes, I have been approached, but very few have actually agreed to my terms. Edwin Youngblood, what is your most worn watch and how many watches do you currently own? Like I said, almost 15. The watches that I wear the most are my DW5000, my Amphibia, and my SNK Seiko. I really wear them all the time because they're cheap, they're reliable, and I really don't care if I damage them. However, I love wearing my King Seiko, my Shermansky, but they're more like weekend watches because I don't want to damage them in everyday wear. Anyways, we're going to have to conclude this because this is again 15 minutes, so we're going to continue next week. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found at least some of these answers useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.